Hi, I'm Lisa Bardot, and today's drawing tutorial is all about fingers. This video is a part of my People Skills series, a month-long sequence of tutorials and assignments that will get you familiar with the basics of drawing humans and help you develop your own people drawing style. If this is your first People Skills video, I recommend starting with the introduction and working your way through the tutorials sequentially. We'll be using the iPad app Procreate to do the tutorials, but you are more than welcome to join in with a paper and pencil or whatever medium you feel comfortable using. If you're new to Procreate, I highly recommend watching my Intro to Procreate tutorial. Let's get started. In this series, we're learning how to draw people in a stylized way. This means we're depicting them in a way that is not realistic. But in order to be able to draw fingers and hands using our own interpretation, we do need to have an understanding of the construction and movement of the real thing. Hands are one of the most difficult things to draw. Every artist has struggled with them, and you will too. As you're learning, your hands are going to look bad, but that doesn't mean that you have to feel bad about it. The more you practice, the better you will get, and you are taking a huge step just by getting past your intimidation and getting started with it. You got this! In its most basic form, a finger is a long, tapered shape that is round on one end and has the ability to bend. Of course, adding a fingernail makes it undeniably a finger. This would be what we'll call the minimal depiction. It's the least amount of information we need to convey a finger. Now that we know that, let's look at some characteristics of the finger so that we have some basic elements to work with in depicting it. In its simplest form, a finger is a long, tapered cylinder broken into three parts. The finger is rounded on top. The three parts are connected by joints that allow the finger to move. The fingernail is a rounded oval shape that contours around the finger. On the front of the finger, there are some wrinkles in the skin where the joints are. The wrinkles on the top are fairly straight lines, and the wrinkles on the bottom joint are contoured in kind of an oval shape. Now over on the back side, there are some pretty pronounced creases as well, again, where the joints are. Looking at the finger from the side, the top edge is more bony, so it's made up of a lot of straight lines, and the underside is more fleshy, so it's made up of curved lines or bumps. As we bend the finger a bit, this becomes more obvious. So these are our basic elements for the finger. A tapered cylinder in three sections, rounded on top, with a fingernail. There's wrinkles or creases in the joints, and the lines are straight on top and curved on the underside. Okay, now you're going to draw a bunch of fingers. Take a deep breath and remember this. They're going to look bad. And that's perfectly okay. Just practice a lot. And you want to know something awesome? You have a reference with you at all times right in front of you. Sweet. Okay, in Procreate, let's choose a lighter color and divide our canvas into quarters. Label each section front, back, side, and angle. We're going to be practicing 3 different poses at each of these angles: straight, relaxed or bent, and closed. We'll begin with the finger in the straight position. Know that this is not a natural position for the finger to be in. A relaxed pose, which is what we'll do next, is actually bent a little. A straight finger is an intentional movement and requires effort and muscle. Just something to keep in mind down the road when we get into posing the hands. Create a new layer and grab a darker color. Label the center of your canvas with the word straight. Now, in your other hand, point your finger out. Boom! Now you're a hand model. Fill up this rectangle with many front view fingers. Play around with the shape, like making it more squarish. Try long or short nails. Experiment with how much or how little detail to add. Keep looking back to your finger as a reference. Now that the space is filled, let's move on to the back view. It's probably the most easy and straightforward. There's not much going on other than those creases at the finger joints. And maybe the fingernail peeking up if the nails are long. Still, be sure to experiment with shape and see what different things you can do. Turn your hand to view your finger's side. Simplify what you see and try versions with more detail as well. You can draw the fingernail as one part of the same line or add more lines to make it appear more separate. Again, this is stylized, so you can interpret it however you'd like. The underside can be one smooth curved shape, or you can depict the bumps. Notice how a full extended finger curves upward just a little. Finally, let's draw the finger at other angles. The details, like the nail and skin wrinkles, are really what communicate what angle the finger is at. Notice how the nail curves when the finger is at different angles. And keep playing around with shape. Do all of these enough times and it will become apparent what your favorite way of drawing fingers is. Okay, let's turn off visibility on that layer and create a new one. Now we're going to draw the finger in a relaxed position. Label this new layer relaxed/bent. When the hand is relaxed, the fingers have a natural curve to them. Try doing this with your hand. Drawing the finger bent from the front or back is more difficult because it requires you to use foreshortening. Foreshortening is making something appear shorter and smaller because it's being viewed at an angle. This is challenging, but give it your best shot. It will get easier with practice. In the front view, the finger appears shorter and the nail is flatter, and the wrinkles at the joints appear closer together. Turn your hand around so you see the back side of the finger. Try not to draw what you think you see, draw what you actually see. Notice how the skin creases are much more prominent and they curve down instead of appearing to be straight lines. Also, the skin bulges out more now that the finger is bent. The bent side view is where we really get to see the bumps and straights. Sometimes it helps to define the underlying structure before drawing the finger, which we will discuss a lot more when we start drawing hands. Again, notice how the fleshy part of the finger's underside really starts to bulge out when the finger is bent and the skin creases become more prominent. When viewing the bent finger at different angles, again, the information needed to convey the angle resides in the wrinkles, creases, and fingernails. Looking at the overall shape of the bent finger, it looks kind of like a curved sausage. If I draw that same shape twice, I can change the angle by what details are showing. Again, try drawing some underlying structure. The cylinder shapes are really going to help you out with this. Okay, let's move on to the closed finger pose from the front. Not a lot going on here, but I do recognize this trapezoid shape, which would be the knuckle, and so I'll add a couple wrinkles there. And I also notice the finger looks a little fatter, which makes sense because the fleshy part is getting squished down because the finger is closed. If you close the fingers down even more into a fist, you see even less. Draw what you see. Okay, turn your hand around to the other side. It might help to lift your other finger so you can see what this single finger is doing. This might get a little confusing, but try to find the basic shapes. I see this bulging part here, and then the middle section goes down and tapers a bit. The fingertip is foreshortened so the nail gets flattened. Again, try to draw what you see. These look pretty weird, and yours might too, but that's okay. We're going to move on to the side view. When I look at the side view, the first thing I notice is that the whole shape looks like a diamond. I see the creases coming out from the center and kind of pointing towards the corners like this. Don't forget to add the nail and wrinkles. Draw this a few times as well. Now let's look at the closed finger at different angles. This angle is similar to the side view, but I think it makes it much easier to see that it's a finger folded over. I can try and simplify that a bit. This angle also helps me see the finger as a 3D shape, so I can play around with that too. I would be remiss in talking about fingers if I didn't mention the thumb. The thumb is unique to all the other fingers. It only has 2 sections instead of 3, and the nail grows kind of up at an angle much more than the fingers. So make another layer and we'll draw the thumb at all these angles too, starting with straight. So start with the front view. The top section of the thumb is actually a bit wider than the lower section. It looks to me like it has kind of an oval shape, so I'll start by drawing an oval. Then the bottom sort of splays out a bit. Don't forget the nail and the wrinkles. Turn it around and do the back. Similar shape. There is only one major crease where the joint is, but I also see a little half crease here, and then another where it connects to the palm. The side view is where we really see the shape, especially that the nail curves up. Remember that the thumb is also a bit thicker than the fingers. And at an angle, it's pretty similar to the fingers except for the wideness at the top section and at the base. Draw the thumb at a few different angles. Now, draw the thumb in a relaxed pose at the 4 angles. Look at your thumb and make observations. Draw the underlying structure of the cylinders to help you out. Finally, draw the thumb in a closed position. It might be hard to see all the different angles, but try your best. Okay, at this point, I'm not sure which of your hands is more sore, your drawing hand or your modeling hand. Either way, I think this is a good point to call it a day. Now it's time for you to do your homework. If you haven't been following along in the video already, go back and follow the steps to draw finger and thumb in the 3 positions at 4 different angles each. By the time you're done, you'll have a lot of finger practice. And remember, don't worry if they look bad. The more you draw, the better you'll get. You can learn more about this assignment on the lesson page, including a Pinterest board full of additional resources. Find all that, plus an organized list of all the People Skills lessons at bardotbrush.com/people. I've put a link in the description. I hope you'll join us in our next tutorial where we're going to start learning about the hands. Don't worry, we'll take it one step at a time. Be sure to subscribe and tap the little bell icon so you don't miss it. I made People Skills as a part of my Making Art Everyday project. It's a series of drawing prompts, tutorials, and motivation to help you overcome creative fears and establish a daily art making practice. Learn more at bardotbrush.com/joinMAE. If you'd like to purchase the brushes used in this tutorial, you can find them and many more at bardotbrush.com. If you're posting your work to Instagram, I would love to see it. Use the hashtag #BardotBrush. Thanks and happy art making! If you like this video, please subscribe for more awesome tutorials. And check out one of my other videos. Have a great day!